Hello and welcome to a Saturday racing preview. Of course, this video looking at the Moonee Valley meeting tomorrow. A really good card of racing as well, with a couple of very nice feature races, including in race number 6, got the Mackenzie Stakes for the 3-year-olds, and then also in race number 8, the Listed Carlyon Stakes over 1,000 metres, with a very nice field going around in that one there. So really looking forward to getting stuck into this meeting at Moonee Valley. Of course, if you are new here, please subscribe and give a like on the video down below. And obviously throughout the video as well, if you've got any thoughts on any of the races that I cover, I'm going to be going from races 1 to 9, giving my top 4 selections, and then anything else that I think is a decent chance of the race, just to then allow you guys to make up your mind at home on what you like. And yeah, hopefully I just give you a little bit of a push for any runner that I think's got a good chance of winning or over the odds. And we like to find plenty of value on here as well, so I will obviously be doing my top 4 selections, but if there is something that I think is well over the odds and worth having a bit of a spec on each way in each race, I will make mention of it. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you haven't already done so, go and check me out on _Racing Tips on Instagram and C-Lane Racing Tips on Facebook. You can find me on both of those platforms, where I post all of these tips, so Saturday racing tips, including Quaddie Selections. If I get time, I will actually roll through some Quaddie Selections early doors. I don't always like to do them in these early videos, because there is obviously a few scratchings to happen between now and tomorrow, race day. So, but look, we'll give it a crack, and you can obviously keep an eye on my social media pages to see those changes, or you can just do it at your own discretion off the back of the Quaddie Selections that I give you. So we're going to get stuck straight into race number 1 on the program, a 9-race card at Moonee Valley at this moment, a soft 6. Looking outside at the moment, it is still, it's not too much rain about at the moment, so the track could dry out. I don't think we'll get a good 4 though. There is a little bit of rain scheduled to be about, I guess, throughout the day and evening. So I don't think we'll be getting I don't think it'll dry out quite to a good 4, although Moonee Valley does dry out pretty good generally, but I think we'll work around that soft 5 range. But we'll obviously keep an eye on those track conditions for tomorrow, and keep an eye on any upgrades. But in saying that, I have done the form on basically that sort of lower grade of the higher grade of soft track, and obviously potentially on that good track, but I don't think we'll quite get to that stage. But look at race number 1. It's a 7-horse field to go around, and quite a competitive little race, this one here as well, right to kick off the program. Obviously the meeting getting started at 10 to 1, so make sure you're ready to go first thing in the morning. And looking at the first race of the card, 1,523 metres. Like I mentioned, the 7 horses go around the field. Look at the speed map for this first race. So I'd say Allspin and Odeon will probably pair off and lead them up in this race here from barriers 1 and 4. Widget Turf obviously will go towards the back, as will Rivet Delight. I'd say coming around, might actually be able to get across from barrier number 5 and be able to sit in behind that leading pair, get that box seat run, and Miami Bound and Man from Uncle will sort of contest for that spot, sort of just outside of coming around, I would suggest. But look, I was pretty keen to play with Widget Turf in this race here. I think first up effort was obviously just a bit of a, I guess a to-go run. It was a little bit disappointing. I was probably expecting finishing a little bit closer, but he did come up against a decent field there with the likes of Home the Brave and Great Again going around the feature race tomorrow. So look, absolutely no knock on that. Now he's a horse that's performed really well at this track before. He's had 8 starts here at Moonee Valley for 3 wins and 3 seconds. And at the track and distance, he's been absolutely perfect in terms of the Quinella positions. 4 starts for 2 wins and 2 seconds. So I'm pretty confident he can bounce back here. He's got a decent second up form in comparison to his first up form. He's had 5 starts, second up for 2 wins and 2 placings. Tali Hope gets the ride, which is great for her to get this ride. I've got full confidence there. She's always been a good rider for Patrick Payne. I'm sure she's had a couple of goes on the horse. And I think he's paying a nice price here, $4.20. I can take that about him in comparison to coming around to. I do consider he's a very good talent and a very good horse. So obviously tipped him on top last time out, which was a couple of weeks ago at Flemington, and he won really impressively there. But look, the only query for me is that first time at Moonee Valley, it's always a tricky thing to come into, and I always never really want to dive into anything that's odds on when they're having their first go at the Moonee Valley, because you just don't know if they're going to handle the circuit or not. So for me, coming around, very good horse, and he could be anything. He looks to be a real talent, but I'm just not sure if I can take him at $1.85 around the Moonee Valley track. I do think he might drift a little bit. He did open up at $1.80. He touched into the low as $1.75 and he's now $1.85. So he has moved a little bit in the market. And there is a couple of horses that obviously like Widgie Turf and the other one I'm about to mention very shortly, who are horses that are pretty well popular as well, and they could get well backed. But so I've got Widgie coming around in for second. In for third, number 2, Miami Bound, who was scratched from last week to run in this race here. And interestingly, last week was a 1,200 metre race, and Danny O'Brien's now brought her here to this 1,523 metre race, which I think is much more suitable for her as a kickoff race. And I think that she's got a good chance to win as well. She's obviously 2 from 2, 100% perfect on soft condition tracks, so she's got to come into the fray. And she's $10. I mean, that's a really good price about her. Which she's obviously a Group 1 Oaks winner, and she's got a stack of ability, and she won a couple of races over sort of the 2,000 and less mark. Obviously, she's going to be getting over a little bit further this preparation, but I do think that she could run a bold race first up, and she has obviously won first up before, so. She isn't without a chance at the $10. She goes in for third, and then in for fourth, I've got number 3, Odeon. I think of the on-speed runners, he'll be able to stick on. He's first up here under Jamie Cash, got lovely hands, and she really gets the horses to relax really well, especially when she's up on towards the speed. So I think this horse could be running a pretty bold race up front, but has never won at Moonee Valley from 3 tries, so that's the only little query for me. But I do think he can run a good race. So really good race to kick off the program at Moonee Valley. I am with number 1, Widgie Turf. Like I said, just that track experience, experience in the wet, being second up. I think he's got a big chance to win. I think he's paying a good price. So he goes on top for me. And then number 4 coming round in for second. In for third, I've got number 2, Miami Bound. And in for fourth, number 3, Odeon. Moving on to race number 2 on the program now. And in race number 2, we get to see the very exciting and very talented Talia, obviously coming down from New South Wales to race here at Moonee Valley for the first time. Really looking forward to it. It's a 1,200 metre benchmark 84 race. Looking at the speed map, there's obviously 7 of them to go around. I've got 2, 4, 8 of them. So we've got a field of 8, which is quite nice. So obviously we'll get that third dividend back in comparison to the first race, which just be in mind that obviously there is no set third dividend. So your horse has got to come in the top 2 placings in that first race if you're playing for a place bet. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Talia will probably roll towards the pace. Lady Loft might work to keep it out. South Bank, I'd suggest, will be up towards the speed. Probably will look to settle in behind them. And Santa Catarina, I think, could probably, less Palmy boxes up, rolls forward from barrier number 1. I suggest that Santa Catarina will probably be able to roll in behind and sit in box seat behind the 2 leaders. And I'm with Santa Catarina here. Look, I'm obviously very excited. A massive wrap for Talia. Been with it a couple of times this preparation, but $1.70 first time at the Valley is way too short for me. And I've got to give this horse number 1, Santa Catarina, a bit of a crack here. Tom Stockdale sits in for the ride. He has a 2 kilo claim, so the 62 kilos comes down to a manageable 60. It's got a lot of form on the board. This 5-year-old brown mare, obviously from New Zealand. Had a good first up run here at Moonee Valley a couple of weeks ago behind Dexalation and Titan Blinders. Really did get to the line pretty nicely there, and I thought that was a good effort. Obviously goes from 1,200 metres, stays at this distance range here, which I think is perfect. We'll get this second run at the track, and I think it'll be much fitter for the effort. Obviously very good on wet conditions. Has had 11 starts for 2 wins and 5 placings on the soft track. So I just think this horse is much better value and is much better betting prospect for me. So number 1, Santa Catarina, goes on top for me at $12 and $2.70 the place. Ahead of number 4, Talia, who, like I said, has an absolute stack of ability. Really looking forward to seeing her come down here and run. And obviously I just want to see her go around and do it around Moonee Valley first, because it's a very tricky circuit. Obviously she'll lob herself up on pace, which will be a positive, but we can often see the city horses that they come around that tight Moonee Valley turn, they get themselves on the wrong foot, and it just completely muffles them up. Some of them handle it nicely, but some of them don't. I'm not too sure about her, and if that's the case, I just think you can't go into her at $1.70 when you've just got that bit of uncertainty with it. So she goes in for second for me, but I'm obviously very keen to watch her go around, and I'm really excited to see how she performs. If she can perform it out, I'm very keen to see where James Cummings takes her from this race here. If for third, I've got number 8, Sword of Mercy, has been in terrific form, and obviously $6, pretty nice price. It's had a bit of early market support as well. Opened up at $9, it's now coming to $6. So There has been a few goes at this horse here, and obviously I can see why. Some really good form lines. The third last time out behind Octane, who's a very smart horse, reads pretty well, and Rock Profit, who's absolutely flying. That was at a benchmark 90, comes down in grade and sticks at the 56.5 kilos. So I think this horse has got a good chance here, and obviously been in good form. Prior to that, finished second. She's the Thief has been absolutely flying as well. So she reads pretty well here in this race. Number 8, Sword of Mercy, and she's paying a good price at $6. So she's a good chance, and I've got her in for third. If for fourth, the other horse I think's got a chance. First up is number 3, South Bank. Obviously has a fair bit of ability. Last preparation wasn't able to really put it together after a really good 2-year-old campaign. Interested to see how it can come back. Has jumped out pretty well. Obviously, in that jump out, finished second at Buffalo River. So, we know how smart Buffalo River is. So, I do think that was a good jump out there. Obviously, it has been Group 1 place. So has a really fair share of ability. Number 3, South Bank, paying $11. Billy Egg in the saddle. This horse has obviously won first up before and has won a soft track. So, there's a couple of ticks there to suggest that you could probably have a play at the $11. But look, I'm keen to go with number 1, Santa Catarina. Obviously, I was quite taken with her run last week. Sorry, not last week, a couple of weeks ago at Moonee Valley, where she obviously got around pretty nicely and finished in for fourth there. I think she can go a bit better here, and $12 is a nice price. She'll have to do something to catch Talia, who's a very good horse, and like I said, she's a little bit short. And if she does drift out on the day out to that sort of $2 plus mark, I probably will entertain backing her. But whilst at this $1.70, probably can't at the moment. So she goes in for second. In for third, I've got number 8, Sword of Mercy, and in for fourth, number 3, South Bank. Now, a horse who I did leave out, who I do think is probably a very nice chance, is number 7, Churning, who joins the Danny O'Brien stable from the Edmonds stable, I believe it's come from here. So obviously from Queensland, it is from the Edmonds team. I was right with that one. The jump out's been really sharp coming into this, and obviously has had 2 starts on a soft track for 2 wins, and I'll be interested to see how this horse performs first up. It's had 4 starts fresh for 2 wins and a placing. So this horse got a good chance with Damien Oliver in the sale at $12 as well. So they're probably the 5 I'll be playing, and I will be having all 5 of them in my early quaddie. I think that there's some nice options to go at each way, which is why I'm sort of swerving away from Talia, despite her probably being the best horse in the race. So there's a couple of nice options there that you can go with each way. So race number 2, very keen, number 1, Santa Catarina on top. Move on to race number 3 now. It's the Ladbroke Switch handicap over 1,200 metres. Look at the speed map here for this race. Really looking forward to this, quite a deep field. I'd suggest a Cloudbreaker, if it jumps nicely, will be able to get out from barrier number 2 and lead them up. Taikula Diva shows a fair bit of toe out the gates, will roll forward. Giotti will probably be up towards the pace. Clean Machine, Chosen Blind and Montilla, they've got a little bit of gate speed as well from barriers 1 and 3, respectively. They'll be able to roll forward as well. So plenty of pace in this race here, and it's interesting because Jenny's Rainbow obviously was terrific on debut and was able to round them up from the back. We'll really appreciate this hot tempo. For me, $3, as good as that performance was on the synthetic, they have to come from the synthetic onto the turf and at Moonee Valley to do it. But what I've always had a real keen thing on, and I'm going to share it with you guys now. I don't know if I've mentioned it before in Moonee Valley videos. I probably have, but David Brotto, obviously Mornington trainer. The Mornington track is set up relatively similar to Moonee Valley in terms of its dimensions. It has the straight down the back. It obviously flattens out a little bit. Then it has that sharp turn and a short straight home. So whilst the turn's not as sharp as it is at Moonee Valley, it is quite close. And a lot of the horses do come from Mornington and they go to Moonee Valley and perform well. So I do expect Jenny's Rainbow to run a really good race. She obviously is going to be well back in the field, but she will appreciate the hot tempo and she'll be able to run into it. But look, I have looked elsewhere. I just think that there's a little bit of value to be played at this race. And I think number 2, Cloudbreaker, is one of them. If it can jump out from the barriers nicely, roll towards the front, I think it'll be hard to beat here. I've got a really good opinion of this horse. Last preparation beat Cafe Rizu, who's obviously come back this preparation, run well and had 2 wins, including a Saturday win at Flemington a couple of weeks ago. So really nice form there. The jump out coming in has been quite nice, and I think this horse can run really well first up over 1,200 metres at the $14 with Dwayne Dunn in the saddle. So drawn really nicely, and sometimes in these races, the sprint race at Moonee Valley, you just want to go with the best drawn horses and who you think is going to get the best run. And I think that Cloudbreaker will be able to get a really good run in the race. So it goes on top for me, ahead of number 11, Jenny's Rainbow, who, like I said, will have plenty of pace on in the race to give her chance to wind up in her gears and finish over the top of them. And I'm really excited to see her go. And obviously if she does perform and do really well, I'll give her props. But I've just got to see her, I guess, do it against a really good field at Moonee Valley first before I can go in at that sort of price. So like I said, I think Cloudbreak's got really good form, which is why I've gone at the $14. I think it's much better option than going at the $3 with Jenny's Rainbow. See, but look, she's got her fair share ability. I think she's got immense talent, so she goes for second. In for third, number 8, River in a Storm with Damien Oliver in the saddle. Really think this horse can run well first up here. Obviously, won first up as a really well-backed favourite at Geelong. Then it went to Caulfield and finished fourth in its first preparation behind Let's Be Glam and Mutasir, which obviously reads pretty well here. Then it went into the Blue Diamond behind Tagaloa and Hanseatic. So, look, she's got a good ability. She looks to have come back pretty well, and I think she can run a good race first up. Just has to navigate barrier number 12. And then in for fourth, I've got number 5, Montia, who also from the Hayes Davenant Yard returns to the track. Has had the 2 runs here at Moonee Valley, which I do like. They're big ticks for me, and obviously did win the first one on debut, beating Miss Kingston on that occasion in really impressive fashion. Then it went and finished behind Larimer Street and Van Jelligan, which is a pretty hot form race out of that meeting at Moonee Valley back in the 20th of March. So, look, this horse got a good chance. It's had some good jump outs leading in as well, so looks sharp and ready to go. So I'm going to have it in for fourth. Other horse I do give a chance. I think this race is wide open. I'll be playing pretty wide in this. Chosen Blonde's probably a bit over the odds at $20. Had a really good win last start at Morphettville. And often, Crispy Egg, he plays his horses relatively well. So $20 about that horse, probably a bit over the odds. Clean Machine has obviously been racing well recently. He's had a last start fourth by Mr. Vine and Wide Awake. Hasn't really been as strong a form race as I perhaps thought on the day it would be. It has had some of the horses come out haven't really been subsequent winners, so hasn't been as strong as I thought it would. But I do concede that was a good run by Clean Machine, and the second Pride of Saltpeter reads pretty well as well. And Tarkula Diva obviously has a chance as well. Being first up here fresh for the General Riley stable, so I think she can run a good race as well. Look, Dirty Thoughts won't be running. It'll be, I believe it's in for Bendigo today, paying $3.10, which I've tipped on top. So if you are able to get on this video before that horse runs, I definitely think you can have a good go at that. And Giotti as well for Tony and Calvin McAvoy definitely has a good chance as well. Had some a little bit different form lines last preparation. Race down at Launceston at one stage where it won down there. Then come back, finish behind Minaj and Mutasira up the straight at Moonee Valley. And obviously the third horse out of that Golden Sovereign at Tassie was absolutely a subsequent Blue Diamond place getter in Personal. So that form from Tasmania, don't get it scripted, has been pretty good and it reads pretty well. And this horse did beat Personal, who's got a fair stack of ability on that occasion. So Giotti has definitely got a chance at $13 as well. So I'll be playing really wide in this race. Just recap the numbers, though I do have number 2, Cloudbreaker on top for me, ahead of number 11, Jenny's Rainbow, and for second. In for third, I've got number 8, River and a Storm, and in for fourth, number 5, Montia. Moving on to race number 4 on the program now, 2,500 metres over benchmark 75 level. Look at the speed map here, pretty deep field. There's quite a lot of horses to go around this, which is what you like to see. I'd say Ryan Garris will probably lead them up from barrier number 2. We'll roll forward. Ackerman will probably try and get forward from barrier number 10 as well. There'll look to be a lot of speed drawn on those outside barriers, so I think should be able to get across and get to a good spot. High Motion will be able to boot up from barrier number 1, I reckon, and be able to box seated behind these 2 leaders, so it's going to get a perfect run. One of the favourites in the race, Converging, will probably the one that'll roll in behind Ackerman and sort of just behind the speed as well on the outside of High Motion, I suggest. So not a whole lot of pace here in this race here, which obviously, look, I've gone with number 7, Blandford Lags. I thought it was well over the odds. I'm going to need them to go at a pretty strong tempo, though, for him to be a chance. But, look, I just think that stepping back from the last start effort behind Exemplar and WT in an open handicap, coming back now to a benchmark 78, I think it reads pretty well. And I think he's got a good chance here at the $17. Just think he's well over the odds for a horse that, stepping back in grade, yes, it wasn't the most flash performance last time out, but Exemplar has proven, as has WT, to be pretty handy stayers. So I think that, and obviously none of them types are in this field here. So I just think that this horse is a bit over the odds here. If it can bounce back to the form it showed prior to that last start win, where it won really well in a benchmark 70 level, beating Protection Money at Sandown Hillside track. That form's been franked. Sandown Protection Money won last week at Sandown, so Really good. The form's been franked there as well, which obviously this horse got some decent form around it. And can bounce back to that type of run where obviously it is very good on a soft track. It's at 11 starts for 4 wins and 2 placings. I think he can bounce back and be a good chance here. Obviously, they just need them to go at that good tempo, but I'm willing to risk that at $17. Really good price for me, so it goes on top. Ahead of number 5, High Emotion, I think he had a perfect run of the race, and that might be the difference between these horses here. I think it could be really hard to beat the $3.10, and it's a clear second pick for me. Even for third, number 4, Crimson Ace, who I think can also run a good race coming back from a good run last start behind Skyman and Cadre du New York. Obviously, I think that's going to be a good form race for benchmark 78. Skyman looks to have his fair share of ability as a Cadre du New York. And Crimson Ace made good ground there on that occasion. She ran really well. And I think that coming back from that run was only a couple of weeks ago. So she comes into this a little bit, I guess she's had a couple of recent runs in comparison to a couple of these. So she definitely gets her good chance here at the Moonee Valley, and with Damien Oliver in the saddle, I'm sure he'll be able to aid her with a good ride. She goes into third for me. Then for fourth, number 1, Tigger Royale is absolutely flying this preparation, but and has chalked up now 4 wins, including 1 at Randwick and 1 at Sandown Geelong. And look, the form's stacking up. You can't knock winning form. Obviously, 2 starts back when it ran at Randwick. It beat a horse called Desert Path, who subsequently come out last week and 2 weeks ago and won, and goes around at Randwick on tomorrow on Saturday. So we'll keep an eye out for that type of form there. But look, he does have to carry a lot of weight though. He's got 62 kilos on his back. Declan Bates in the saddle, and so he's going to have to be really good to win, but you can't knock the winning form. And $6.50 is a pretty good price about a horse that's winning at the moment. Other chances in the race, I do think Kentucky Tornado has a pretty good chance here, being third up. He's had 2 starts third up for 2 placings. Has 1 on a soft track before. And I just think that it'll be able to improve coming to this third up now. It should be rock hard fit for Craig Williams and saddle though. $4.50. Look, I probably would have priced it up around the sort of $6 or $7 mark. I think $4.50 is a touch short, but look, I do concede it's got a good winning chance as well. But recapping the top 4 numbers for me, I am keen on number 7, Blandford Lad, to bounce back to form, and $17 thinks a very nice price for me. Head of number 5, High Emotion, who is the horse to beat. It's going to get the perfect run of the race, so it goes in for second. In for third, number 4, Crimson Ace. In for fourth, number 1, Tigger Royale. Moving on to race number 5 now in the program, benchmark 78 over 1,600 metres. Look at the speed map here in this race. So I'd suggest that there'll be a decent amount of pace coming out of the middle barriers here with Surreal Image. Thought of that and Silent Command, all horses allowed to get towards the pace. I'd suggest Antagonize will probably roll forward as well. Global Gift led all the way last time out, so it'll probably roll forward as well in this race here. I'm really interested in this race. There's a couple of horses that I think are pretty over the odds, and one of them is number 4, Irish Flame. I can't really understand how this horse was $14, and it did open up at the $20 mark. I didn't get the $20, or I've got on now at the 14. It's touched in pretty well, and I thought that first up performance was really good, finishing third behind Coming Around and Laburnum. Now, I've got Coming Around going around the first race against the likes of Widgie Turf at $1.85. I'm not sure how this horse can be at $14 against some of these. I think it's a really good bet, and it's probably one of my best value each way bets of the program for me. Comes in this second up, so I'm going to be much better improved off that Flemington run. Obviously, running a Moonee Valley first time is the query, but this horse is, I just think it's too good odds to ignore for Brett Scott and Jamie Mott. And I think it's going to run a good race. Obviously, this horse come across from New Zealand where it ran in some pretty good races over there, including a 9th behind Avantage. Obviously, finished a long way back on that occasion. But the fact that it was able to run in those sorts of, that sort of company, that group level company, it does read pretty well for a race like this here. So, look, I think this horse can run a good race. The jump outs leading into the Flemington run were really sharp, and steps out at the 600 metres now. It's going to be much better suitable distance for it. Has won at this distance, running twice from 9 goes. So plenty of ticks for me. I just think it's great odds at the $14. So I'm going to be going number 4 on top for me, Irish Flame. Ahead of number 1, Thought of That, who I think could bounce back off its last start disappointment at Caulfield over 2,000 metres. Comes back to the 1,600 where it did finish second, 2 starts back behind Heavenly Emperor. And I think a similar performance to that start there in this will see it run really well. I think it's going to be a really good run off barrier number 5. Looks to get sort of that cozy running behind the speed. Might even boot up and keep a few of them out and post them wide. So it'll be interesting to see what Mark Zara does. And it's interesting that Kiramar and Dave Eustace have elected to go with Mark Zara ahead of perhaps an apprentice at the $62. So for me, that's a good sign of confidence that they want a good experienced rider to navigate this horse to potentially a win. So I'm keen on that. And number one, thought of that, definitely has a good chance at in for second. In for third, number two, Winning Partner is just knocking on the door at the moment. It's had a couple of seconds in a row now. It's been pretty costly for anyone who's backed it, but look, the form does really well. The second last start behind Tavadance, obviously Tavadance has got a fair bit of ability. Second to Olsfin, who will get a bit of a read on with Olsfin going around in the race prior, I believe. Oh no, that's Ackerman, the stablemate, by mistake. So we won't get a read on that. But Olsfin's pretty handy, and obviously the second prior to that, so the one three starts back was behind Defiant Dancer, who's come out and sort of franked that form as well. So Winning Partner is really knocking on the door for a win at $6.50. About a horse that's been not far off in its last three starts is pretty appealing to me. Hasn't missed the top four since its resumption from the spell in its 5 runs so far to date. So it goes in for third for me. And then in for fourth, look, I have got number 3, Global Gift, who I think will run a good race and is well suited in these wet conditions. So I think he'll run well. And he's been absolutely elite at this distance range, really. 7 starts of 4 wins and 2 placings. So he's very much found its niche at the mile mark. And that last start win was really impressive at Bendigo. So I guess an improvement off that performance, which you probably would suggest it could do, being its 5th race start now. This preparation, I think it can run well, so it goes in for fourth for me. Other chances in the race, look, I do think that Berate is an interesting run at the $51 here. Obviously, this horse comes into its second up off a run behind De Niro and Arabor first up at Sandown over 600 metres now. Comes in its second up, it'll be much better improved further into the prep it goes. But I just thought the $51 a bit over the odds. About a horse who has doesn't mind that has had one start on a soft track and didn't place, but I just think this horse can run an improved race at the $51, so you could have a little each way spec there. And Jittery Jack obviously was absolutely phenomenal last start at Flemington. So I mean, it's surprising the market's knocked that form so much, because really that was a terrific performance, and it comes in pretty well at the weights here again with Liam Riordan's 2-kilo claim bringing the horse down to 56.5. So it's got a good chance, and has proven the wet as well, the $8.50, so it's got a good chance to win the race as well. But recap the numbers for me. Look, I am keen to go with number 4, Irish Flame. I thought was really good value on top. Out of number 1, thought of that for second. In for third, number 2, Winning Partner. And in for fourth, number 3, Global Gift. Moving on into the quaddie leagues now, the program, race number 6, and we got the first of the feature races at Moonee Valley. It's the Mackenzie Stakes over 1,200 metres, and small field to contest this one here. Only the 8 to go in it, which we still are happy with because we get those 3 dividends. But look at the speed map here. Zipping Boy will more than likely lead out from that inside barrier ahead of Hard Landing, who will also probably look to sit in behind. Loco, a bit of a tricky gate for it on the outside there. We'll probably want to roll forward, but might be posted 3 wide. So see the last change, and Alvarado potentially kicking up from middle barriers there as well. So look, there's a couple of these who I think have got very good chances in the race will be back in the field. And I think with that lack of pace, so I'm willing to go with number 1, Hard Landing, who obviously did win here a couple of weeks ago, beating Diesel and Dust. And I thought that was a decent enough performance there to suggest it can run well again. That it did carry 60 kilos on that occasion. It comes down to 58.5, so it will appreciate the weight drop, appreciate the rising distance as well, going from 1,000 metres up to 1,200. It's never run at this distance range before, but I do think that it can run well enough here. Obviously, last preparation, I mean, I think I mentioned this last time we previewed it at the Moonee Valley meeting a couple of weeks ago. This horse where it won. The form lines coming in were pretty good. I mean, looking at runs behind the likes of Hanseatic Rulership, albeit the one that in that race that I just talked about was disappointing. It was first up from a spell on that occasion, but I was happy to see that Hard Landing come back and run one first up. I think he can bounce back and run well here again. So $3.70 goes on top for me. Ed of Rathlin, who I think is an absolute star, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him go around. But for me, just that lack of tempo might just be a bit too sharp when the sprint goes on down that sort of side patch at Moonee Valley. And like I said, first time at Moonee Valley is a little bit of a query for me. So, but he's got the ability on these. I think he's going to be the one that will be charging home late, and I've got him in for second. In for third, number 4, Flying Award. Really looking forward to seeing this horse return to the track. He obviously came out in the later winter months, the autumn months towards the middle stage, and he ran some terrific races. Obviously, the one at Flemington in particular was a very impressive performance, and he's got second behind the likes of It's Hot and Luna Fox, so pretty good form ones, and I think he can run well here first up. He goes in for third. And then for fourth, I've got the other one who's well on the market, and it's number 6, Alvarado, who has got its fair share of ability and could run a good race first up as well. Other chances, look, Zipping Boy off the inside barrier can definitely make a claim that it'll run well. I mean, $11, $3.20 the place. And like I mentioned, Jerome Hunter, he has great success here at Moonee Valley, being a Mornington trainer as well. So this horse can run a good race for each. So definitely a good each way option. I do think it could be potentially in the top 4. I've got a couple ahead of it just based on their raw ability. But the fact that Zipping Boy obviously will have that inside barrier, not a lot of pace to pressure it. I think it could run really well, and obviously I think it'll handle Moonee Valley just fine. So $11 bad, it's a good price as well. I wouldn't mind going each way with that horse there. But look, recap the numbers for me. I've got number 1, Hard Landing on top. Ahead of number 2, Rafflin in for second. In for third, I've got number 4, Flying Award. In for fourth, I've got number 6, Alvarado, with a key watch on number 9, Zipping Boy, as my other pick that I'll be putting into my Quaddie selections. Moving on to race number 7 now in the program. It's the 4 Pines Refreshing Ale benchmark 90 over 1,200 metres. And a nice big field here for this one here. It suggests that Snitz, Craft and Dexalation will probably look to roll out from barriers number 5 and 6, get towards the pace. Condos Express will be up there, as will Bank Quo. So fair bit of pace in Keep Utilised to roll towards the pace as well. Look, I'm keen on a horse this race, number 4, Epic Grey. I'm just hoping that Will Price is positive out of barrier number 1, rolls up and gets in behind that speed, because if he does so, I think this horse can run really well. Has had a great record here at Moonee Valley, 3 starts for a win and a placing. Is very good at this distance range as well, the 1,200 metres. Had 6 starts for 2 wins and 3 placings. And the first up record's not bad. It's never won from the 6 starts first up, but it has placed 5 times. So for me, a $17 shot about a horse that's won here at the track before, very good at the distance range, and has a decent first up record, I think is a very good option, especially considering it's got barrier number 1 as well. So I think this horse can run well first up here, and I've got it on top at the $17, ahead of number 7, Windstorm, who he's an absolute star, and I'm really keen to see him go around. He obviously is well proven on the soft conditions, have 4 starts for 3 wins and a placing. And look, I did get it wrong last week with not Superstorm. Who was it in that one last week? Showmanship was the horse I was thinking about. Obviously, profile's pretty similar to this Windstorm here. Obviously, very progressive, and really keen to see it go around. But just for me, Moonee Valley first time, just that little bit of a query. $2 is a decent enough price though, and obviously Willie Pike in the saddle obviously knows the horse really well. So, I think this horse can run well, and obviously has a bit on these, I think, and is rock hard fit now. So. Plenty of ticks, but $2.05 is just that fraction short for me. I'll probably be keen to play if it gets around that sort of $2.50, $3 mark, but I highly doubt it will, because there'll be a lot of people who probably dive into this horse, especially considering the fact that Showmanship won last week at Caulfield, and obviously a lot of those punters will probably dive into this horse here. Windstorm has got plenty of ability, but just a bit short for me. Banco, very similar, got a lot of ability. I think it will need this first up run with Damon on the saddle, but I think it can get into the placings here, and obviously hasn't run too well on wet tracks in the past, and hasn't won first up before, has that one solitary second from 2 first up runs. But look, he's got obviously a lot of ability, and he ran well in a new market, which obviously reads really well. He finished 3rd behind Alabama Express, a Group 1 winner, 2nd behind Microphone, another Group 1 winner. So look, there's a lot of form, and obviously that new market run behind, 5th behind Bivouac and London Gabby is probably some of the best form you can get, really. So he will get better the further in the prep he goes. But look, this is a race where he could run well enough in, so he goes to the 3rd for me. And then if for 4th, I've got number 14, Condos Express. So I think can bounce back off its last start performance. A little bit disappointing at the Valley here last time out. I think can run a much better race here. Obviously, does meet Dexalation again, but I'm willing to forgive its last start run, Condos Express. So I think it's drawn to run a really good race here. Comes into this second up, which I think will be much better improved from that first up run. Obviously, it's had 3 starts first up for just the 1 placing. So I think it'll run well here. Soft track, it's had 4 starts for a win and 2 placings. 4 starts the track here for 2 wins and a second. So I think that this horse can run well, and has also got a really good chance at $19. And like I said, I can't put that horse in without mentioning Dexalation. Obviously has a decent chance as well, being a good winner here last start. And Innkeeper as well, I think could bounce back. It's a horse that loves a wet track, and The last start, 10th behind, more than exceeded coming around at the Swan Hill Cup. Reads really well. It obviously finished well back in that field there, but that was a good race. And prior to that, finished a long last at Morrissey. So we'll have to bounce back in form. But coming back to the 1200 metres, I think we'll see a better chance and a better run for this horse at $31. But look, I've got number 4, Epic Grey here. I think it's going to be drawn really to run a really good race from the inside barrier. Obviously, there's one here at the track before, which is a big tick for me. So it goes on top ahead of number 7, Windstorm, who's definitely probably the best horse of the race here, along with Banquo, who's my 3rd pick. But I just think that both those two, a little bit of a query at the Valley, and with Banquo, a bit of a query first up. Obviously, runs a bit better the further into the prep he goes. So, and look, I do think that they both have got great chances. And if obviously said some of the bookmakers that are offering good specials throughout the weekend, so if you get a 2nd or 3rd, you can back them. I do think they will be finishing top 3. I just think that Epic Grey has that bit of value. And in for 4th, number 14, Condos Express. Moving on to race number 8 in the program now, the Carlyon Stakes, obviously the feature race of the day. Look at the speed map here. I'd say dollar for dollar and great again from the inside. Barriers 1 and 3 will roll forward. With the Spoon and Jungle Edge will also be running up towards the pace, as will Ashlaw. So a lot of pace in this race here, as you could probably expect for a 1,000-metre dash. And I think it'll set up really nicely for number 8, Hummer Hummer, who, if you get the chance, go and have a look at its morning to jump out. It was phenomenal. It flew through the line there, and that got me really excited for this race here. I think she's going to get the perfect amount of speed and tempo to come into the race. She's drawn really nicely. She's obviously won here. She's excellent here at Moonee Valley. 5 starts for 2 wins and 2 placings. Has had 2 starts. It's 2 from 2 here at the track and distance, so loves 1,000 metres. Very good fresh performance, 5 starts for 3 wins and a placing. So $9.50 for me is a very nice price. Jamie, the saddle, I'm going to have it on top. Ahead of number 10, Brooklyn Hustle, who comes in this 2nd up and obviously is terrific here at Moonee Valley and terrific here at the track. And that was a phenomenal first up performance, getting up on the inside under Dwayne Dunn. And obviously, repeated that sort of performance, we'll see it run really well, but it's going to need a lot of luck again. And for me, $2.90 better horse that's going to need luck is a bit of a query in what's a very strong race, but she does come in with good claims, and she's got a very nice weight relief for the 55 kilos on her back. So she goes in for 2nd. In for 3rd, number 1, Jungle Edge, who obviously he's excellent on a soft track, but my biggest concern with him is that he has had 7 starts at Moonee Valley here just for the 2 placings. So he's never won here at the track. Bit of a bogey track for him. Can he break it? Look, I'm not too sure. $3.90 for me about him to find out is a little bit short. He has been really well backed, though. He started open up at $6.50 and he's now $3.90. So he goes in for 3rd for me. And in for 4th, number 2, Great Again, who obviously has been in really good form and been around the money its last few starts now. Has only had the one time it's missed a place in its 5 starts this preparation, and obviously it's very good on a wet surface as well. So I can see it running really well from barrier number 1 with Michael Rod in the saddle. Other also want to make mention of Bonds Away's got a good chance first up here. I know Wendy Kelly mentioned that he's ready to go, and obviously he's run here at Moonee. He's run well here at Moonee Valley before. Never won, but he has run pretty well, and is a good fresh performer. So he could run a good race first up. With the Spoons, the interesting runner coming down from New South Wales for Chris Lees, and I think Moonee Valley can suit her pretty nicely. She looks to roll towards the pace, so obviously there is going to be a fair bit of tempo to contest with, and a few other horses that will roll forward, but she's got a chance as well. $1 for $1 is a pretty good first up performer as well. So 5 starts first up for 3 wins and 2 placings, if you don't mind, and 4 starts on a soft track for 3 wins and a placing. So look, I think it is a bit short of her best. She obviously, he gets a little bit better the further he goes out and trip, but he can run well first up at the $70 as well. So I'll be playing pretty wide in this race here, the Carlyon Stakes. And I've got number 8, Hummer Hummer, on top here for me, ahead of number 10, Brooklyn Hustling for 2nd. In for 3rd, I've got number 1, Jungle Edge, and in for 4th, number 2, Great Again. Moving on to the final race of the program now. Sorry, I've taken up a bit of your time. Over 2,040 metres. Really good last race to finish off the program. Look at the speed map here. I'd say Shabao will probably roll towards the pace, with Miramar being towards the speed as well. With Young Rascal, I think will also try and spear across now in the hands of Archie Alexander. Will try and get towards the pace as well. And De Beer usually likes to get up towards there as the pace as well. So really, this is an interesting race. There's a lot of very good talented stayers here. Resuming, there's a couple that rock hard fit. So it's just about, navigating the fit horses against the ones that are first up that have probably got the better ability. And I've gone with one of the fit horses, and it's number 7, WT, who's won well hit the track before, and was a good second last time out behind Example. Is absolutely flying. I think $14 is a good price about this horse. Is going to get a decent amount of tempo to be able to wind up and come into the race. So it goes on top for me, ahead of number 3, Aura of the Garter, who was really good first up and was really well backed. It was just beaten by Romancer there on that occasion. I think it will run well on second up, and I'm giving it a good chance for Damien Oliver in for second. In for third, I've got number 2, Admiral Robson, who I think's got a nice chance at $91 here. I can't really understand how this horse is so big in price. It's a wet track performer. It's decent first up. It's probably going to be even better second up, but it's so $91 for me as well over the odds. So it goes in for second for me. In for third. Then in for fourth, I've got number 9, Shabao, who's obviously a very talented horse, and really looking forward to seeing this horse go towards the Melbourne Cup prep with Willie Pike in the saddle. First up here is probably a little bit of a query, but has run well here at the distance. Obviously 5 starts for 3 wins and a placing. And he's got a stack of ability, so he goes in for fourth. Other chances in the race, I think De Beer obviously has a pretty good chance coming into this second up off a third first up at Flemington behind Romancer and Order of the Garter. So Order of the Garter goes around at $4.50 and De Beer goes around at $10. I don't think there's that big of a difference between them. So you definitely have De Beer in your sort of first fours, trifectas, and obviously quaddies. Polly Gray is probably a bit of a chance as well. This horse is obviously a very good wet performer in the second last one at Moonee Valley. So has had that run here at the track before and was second behind Harmadeus, who's flying. Obviously, Young Rascal, we know how good he is. He's a very good first up performer. 6 starts for 4 wins and a placing. And 6 starts on a soft track for 4 wins and a placing as well. So he's got a good chance. He's got a lot of weight to carry, but obviously Archie Alexander has gone with an experienced jockey in John Allen to guide him around the circuit. So he's got a good chance as well at the $9. I'll be playing really wide in my quaddie in this last leg here, and that's why I've gone with number 7 WT, who's got the form at the track, and that's what I do like about this horse, and really knocking on the door for a win. So $14 is a good price for me, so I'm having it on top. The other horse I didn't mention just really quick is Skyman. Obviously, he's been in terrific form. He comes this third up and has been perfect since his Australian debut, so he's obviously got a good chance as well. Just on top for me, I have got number 7 WT. In for second, number 3, Order of the Garter. And for third, number 2, Admiral Robson. I just thought it was massively over the odds at $91. I think he could run a bold race first up. And then in for fourth, I do have number 9, Shabao. Now, moving back through the program and looking at my best bets of the program. So I'm going to go right the way back to race number 1, and it is number 1, Widgie Turf. I'm going to make him one of my best bets of the program. I think he's got a very good chance here to win in this race here. I think coming around, he's got a fair stack of ability, but obviously Widgie Turf, well experienced at the track, and coming around is not. And I think that'll work well into Widgie's favour, and being second up as well, we'll see some improvement from his first up run. So he's one of my best bets of the program at the $3.90. Obviously, I've gone with a lot of value in this program. So the other one that I am pretty keen on is in the Mackenzie Stakes, and it is. You know what? Actually, I'm going to be bold here. I'm going to go with race number 8, the Carlyon Stakes. Number 8, Hummer Hummer. I do think that she's got a massive amount of talent, and she's got obviously. That jump out for me was absolutely phenomenal at Warrington. She's really wound up and she's ready to go in this first up. And I think she can knock these off here. And obviously it's a pretty open race, but I do think I've got a lot of confidence in her. And I could have made her a best value bet, but I'm going to go with her as one of my other best bets at $9.50. Best value bets, well, I've got a fair bit to choose from here. I've gone with a lot of value in this program. Probably very keen to have a play in race number 5, actually. Number 5. It was race number 5, and it's number 4, Irish Flame, who I was very keen on at $14 and couldn't really understand why it's that price. So it's race number 5. Number 4, Irish Flame at $14, one of my best value bets of the program. And the other one that I was pretty keen on at good odds was in race number 3 and number 2, Cloudbreaker at the $14, my other best value bets of the program. Now, I will go through my quaddie selections, so just bear with me. So just looking at the early quaddie legs at Moonee Valley, in races 2, I've gone with 1, 3, 4, and 7, and 8. Race number 3, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11. And in race number 4, 1, 4, 5, 7, and 8. And in race number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. So just recap those numbers. Race number 2, 1, 3, 4, 7, 8. Race number 3, 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, 11. Race number 4, 1, 4, 5, 7, 8. and in race number 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7. Now, obviously, there probably will be a couple of scratchings between now and tomorrow morning. If there are, what you can simply do is just take out one of those numbers. More often than not, that is what I do. I don't usually look to replace them unless I think there's a really wide open race and there's something else that I like that I didn't put in just for I guess percentage reasons. So basically, if you don't have me on social media, and obviously if you haven't done so, go and give me a follow. But if you haven't got me on social media and you're wondering what to do if any of them get scratched, just take them out of that quaddie or put something in that you might like as well. But look, for me, I've been pretty good with my quaddies this week. Now one that paid $8,000 at Pakenham, was it Pakenham or Ballarat on the Monday. And then obviously got the quaddie at Sandown on Wednesday. So I've been seeing them pretty well in the quaddies so far. I don't want to beat my own drum too much, but hopefully we can get one on the weekend here as well. But look, get around that $100 mark for that early quaddie mark. It'd be around that 11% region, which I think is probably good enough because I think there's plenty of value in this program at Moonee Valley. So in saying that, the late quaddie selections that I'm going to have if you want to be just playing a late quaddie. So, sorry, just to give the quaddie numbers for the card at Moonee Valley, I've gone in race number 6, 1, 2, 4, 6, and 9. Race number 7, 3, 4, 6, 7. Race number 8, 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10. And in race number 9, gone very wide. I think there's a very open race, the last race of the card at Moonee Valley. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 9 and 12, and if you get sort of around that $150 mark, which is probably what I'll be playing at, is around that 15% mark. But obviously, look, don't have to go with the suggested outlays for me. You can just go at your own discretion. Obviously, the percentage will obviously come down the less amount of money you go with, but I do think that that's a pretty gettable quaddie there. And I think that obviously, like I said, if any of them get scratched and you don't have me on social media, because I do post the changes on Saturday morning, just take them out or replace them with whoever you might be keen on. So just recap those numbers: 1, 2, 4, 6, and 9 in race number 6. Race number 7, 3, 4, 6, and 7. Race number 8, 1, 2, 4, 8, 9, 10. And in race number 9, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, and 12. Around that $150 mark will get you just over 15%. So I think that's a pretty good percentage for that race there. Because again, similarly, I don't think you need to have that high percentage because what I've been finding when I've been getting some good collects during the week is that if there's a fair bit of value, you don't necessarily need to have a massive percentage because you can still get a very good return. So that's my preview of the Saturday race tomorrow at Moonee Valley. Very long video. It's going to be 2 parts. I saw that this video got chopped in half, so my apologies for shuffling you around and making you jump between 2 videos, but I do appreciate if you're still stuck around to this point. I watched both. Obviously, keep an eye out for the round week meeting. Obviously, the Group 1 Week Stakes preview coming up. Really looking forward to getting stuck into that meeting. Some very good selections and very good tips on top. So thank you for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hopefully you find plenty of winners tomorrow at Moonee Valley and enjoy the racing.